Oh, hey, today we need to find a rock. Hey, here's one. So, I was scrolling Twitter the other day and I came upon this amazing glass artist who had created what looked like an underwater scene inside of this hollowed out rock, when actually the entire thing is glass, including the rock. Basically what they do is they create all the little characters, encase that in glass, and then they roll it in something called frit. And then once they're done, then they grind away the top, revealing the inside. So I was asking myself, can I try to make something similar, but actually hollow out a rock, put the underwater scene inside, and then fill it with resin? So we're gonna find out. Let's give it a shot, okay. Oh yeah, this is a diamond-tipped hole saw, and I'm thinking I might be able to just sort of Okay, we've got our holes drilled. It actually worked really well. I mean, you can see that's a huge bulk of the material has already been holed out. We just need to boast out all this area right here. We're just gonna kind of bonk it, whack, you know. Then we're gonna take our rotary carver and, you know, clean it up the rest of the way. Oh, and I almost forgot to show you. So these are all the little stone nuggets that came out from the drilling process. I wonder what these taste like. Not bad. Okay. Okay, as you can see, the rock has been unhollowed, but it is so light compared to how heavy it used to be. I just want to see if this thing will float. I don't know if there's enough, I have not tried this. Oh my gosh. I made the world's least efficient boat. Okay, back to... So, now that we have our rock hollowed, we need to go and fill it with little bitty underwater things. So, let's do that. Oh yes, I almost forgot.
In order to do that, we need to go inside the house. But before we go into the house, we need to go into the house.
So let's do that. And now, Deep Thoughts with Dukey. Okay, if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you know I've been pretty open about my issues that I've had with mental health, specifically anxiety/panic disorder. And one thing you may not know about it is how bad it actually got. At one point, it was debilitating. But my biggest regret through going through that entire thing was not doing anything about it and waiting super long to try and find out what the root problem and cause was. I'm not exaggerating. It took me years before I actually did something about it. And I so wish I had done something about it sooner, because I did not go through that experience unscathed. It literally changed me, and not in good ways. It like made me more cynical and negative, and also, you know, depression and things came because of it. You know, when you're thinking you're gonna die every single day over and over. But I am so much better now, and in large part because I started talking to a therapist. And because mental health is such an important topic for me, BetterHelp is sponsoring this video. Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human going through this world that is having a rough time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a different way. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who's trained to give you helpful, unbiased advice. Starting therapy can be hard. Finding the right therapist that's in your area can be difficult, and some people struggle with face-to-face interaction. What's great about BetterHelp is you can decide how you want to have your therapy sessions. If it's a video chat, a phone call, or even texting, if that's something you prefer. Whatever's the most comfortable version of therapy for you. Seriously, if you're struggling with any issues like I mentioned, please reach out for help and don't wait like I did. There's a link in the description you can click, or you can go to betterhelp.com/BobbyDukeArts and check it out. And if you do decide to check it out, you'll get 10% off your first month, so you can get connected to a therapist and see if it's right for you. Literally everyone is going through something. You just don't have to go through it alone.
And thus concludes Deep Thoughts with Dukey.
Okay, well, that was fun. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish, but I do know that there's going to be some sand in the bottom, and we can start with that. Oh, I'm also going to be adding real sand from previous vacation we went on. This is from Destin, Florida, and then I'm going to use a little Nairn, Scotland as well. Oh. After I smoosh it in there, I'm gonna sprinkle on some sand and it'll give it a, well, sandy look. So let the smooshing begin.
Before we smoosh, we need to apply some polymer clay adhesive to its bottom. That way the clay will stick. Break off a piece of the clay and work it. Oh yes, work it. And smoosh. Once the floor is coated in clay, we're going to go back over with the adhesive. That will give something for the sand to stick to. Lock by it. Now we will bake the entire thing for this long at this temperature.
Now we're gonna try and make a piece of coral. Which I'm gonna use some of this translucent yellow. Basically just make a bunch of tiny little spiky doohickeys, bake all those, and then glue them together. That's the idea. Okay, now that all yellow antlers are done, let's bake them. But before we bake them, let's actually go ahead and make another little coral. And remember, this is your world. You can make or break the rules. It's all up to you. Whatever you want to add to this little underwater world, just do it. Like Nike. So as I just said, you roll a ball and then smoosh in a buttload of tiny little divots. That's it. You're done. Now, switching to some red clay, we're gonna do basically the same thing, but we're just gonna make it flatter. Locked by it. Now we're gonna take some translucent pink and a tiny bit of purple. We're gonna create sort of like a flat mushroom, and then using our knife, push in a bunch of radial lines out from the center. And once you're done, you just start stacking them up like ding 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 lamps. Now we're gonna make us a sponge. To make a sponge, first you have to think as a sponge. Look around. Is there anything you may be able to absorb? We're gonna chippy chop off a little Dingledorf. Line by up and smoosh it up. Now we're just gonna roll out a snake, kind of a cone snake. We're just kind of cutting off a few different lengths. Basically, I'm just gonna take my little ball bit thingy and I'm just gonna poke it down in the center. All right, while that's baking, we're gonna go ahead and make a fish. First thing is to pinch off a boogie of Super Sculpey. Then we're just gonna, sculpt a fish. There, it's done.
Once you get it to whatever shape it was we decided on, go ahead and smoosh the backside to sort of thin it out. This will later become the tail fin. Then proceed to smoosh out the top area. This will be the dorsal fin! Then repeat on its bottom. Now I will take my laser blade and cut in the tail shape before we bake. Taking a tool and adding a little definition between the body and the fins. Poke a little hole for his fishy mouth, and now we're ready to bake it. Once baked, we will take our laser blade and trim up the fins to complete the fish's silhouette. Now, it's very important that you make the fish the correct size because it could throw off the entire project and ruin everything. So make sure you get that perfectly correct and do not...
It was too big, so I made a smaller one. Oh, yeah, and I rolled out a tiny, super thin little bit of clay right here, and just gonna cut out some fins that we can glue on the fish. Oh. Now that our little antlers are done baking, let's sculpt them into a coral of sorts. You can take some more of this translucent yellow, pick all the ones I want out of this, cut them down to size, and smoosh them in. And then we're gonna bake it one more time. Now that basically all the fish are sculpted and stuff, we need to paint them. The thing is it's so small, the only way to hold it is with a little toothpick on here. It's already orange, just needs some white and black, and then this will be done and we'll move on to the others, okay.
All the little fishes are done. So is the little corals and stuff. And I happened to find some real miniature shells and stuff. We're gonna super glue all that in there. We're gonna glue these guys down onto some clear posts. And then once we glue them in there, it'll look like they're floating. So let's just see what happens. Let's find out together. Because remember, in this world, I make the rules. In this world, I decide who lives or dies. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, here you can see me gluing in all those little bits. Wow. Look at me go. Once everything is glued the way you like it, I went ahead and took some clear acrylic rods and cut them into little sections so I could glue them onto the fish and make it look like they're swimming around and floating. I actually wish I had used something else because they're kind of visible in the end result, but whatever. Now that we have all of our fish and coral glued in place, I'm gonna put just a sealer coat on everything. That way no bubbles rise out once I put the other resin in. Basically just locks everything in place. And that resin I'm gonna use is the Total Boat High Performance Resin. Mainly the only reason I'm gonna use that is because it cures way faster than the other resin I'm gonna use, which will be after this one. And yeah, just because I don't want to wait. After coating everything in glossy, we're gonna build a little clay retaining wall, and that's gonna serve two purposes. One, so it doesn't spill over when I pour in the resin, and also so the resin level can go above the level of the rock. Like that. Oh, hi. All right, now it's time to actually pour the deep resin. And the resin I'm gonna use to do that is Bottle Tote Deep Pour, and it is designed for casting stuff. So essentially, it's designed to pour thick layers of resin. So what we gotta do is mix up 3 parts of this to 1 part of this, and we have to mix and mix and mix until it's absolutely perfectly homogeneous. This is totally a moment where things could go horribly right or horribly wrong. I really hope for the latter. Is that it? Okay. I love ladders. Oh, I really hope I'm doing this ratio correctly. Okay. Stop. No. Also, if you haven't checked out my buddy Derek from Malden's channel, you should do that. He's a super cool guy, and he makes really cool stuff. And he has an amazing beard. I have beard envy currently. And then to 200. Did I call this deep pour? This is called thick set. And now we mix. Okay, now that we have mixed for probably 2.5 minutes, this next step is optional. I'm going to degas this, which just means to get the gas out, or the air bubble. I bit my tongue. Let's go get these fart bubbles out real quick. This is a super duper cheap Harbor Freight vacuum chamber. Basically, it pumps all the air out of this pot. Just I'm gonna poop that in there, and then all the bubbles should rise to the top, and then we can drink it. Okay. Ah! Why did it sound like...
It's not supposed to make that noise.
Ah, yes, exactly my plan.
Whoops. That's what it should be doing. It's literally boiling, and all that air was just inside the raisin. All right, we're gonna let some air in. Bam! Now that is bubble free, look at that.
Now, for this very delicate procedure, you want to have a slight angle while pouring to not introduce any new bubbles. You also want to pour very slowly so the stream of raisin doesn't draw any bubbles into itself. Dadgum! That's clear. See right in it. Holy sh**.
The raisin is on board. Now, all we gotta do is wait. So, transition. The raisin is done curing. It's been a few days, so now we need to take this gooey clay off all around the edge. Then we're gonna sand it and create sort of a dome effect, so. Okay, now that we've finished roughly sanding our rock and shaping that domage, we need to go back and hand sand it and then polish it. And the stuff I'm going to use is sandpapier, different grits. Then I'm gonna jump to a polishing pad with some of this stuff. It's like a polishing compound. And then some turtle wax. How do they harvest the turtle wax? Does it hurt the turtle? Anyways, we're gonna smear it on this. And now we bath. Sorry.
Mami me dice que soy el tipo que tú prefieres. Mami me dice que soy el tipo que tú prefieres.
It's finished.
Dice que soy el tipo que tú prefieres. Mami me dice que soy el tipo que tú prefieres. Mami me dice que soy